spend a few minutes on this, and I hope you get it as we go into the inward passages and what they mean. They have applied 1 inch to equal 1 year. 1 pyramid inch equals 1 year. Now, some strange things develop prophetically and scripturally at this point. Now, please follow closely, because it's going to be a little more difficult, again, doing it this way than if I had a pencil and could touch these marks for you. You'll see in the upper right-hand corner of your screen 2 yellow lines coming down. That represents one of the sides of the pyramid, the north side where the entrance is. You'll see a straight line coming out that marks above it 2623 BC in your right-hand corner. That is the entrance. That is the door of the pyramid. Now, these pyramids, people has wondered who built them, and people come up with all kind of ideas. Some people say aliens built them, but God couldn't have. Well, this pyramid is actually known as Enoch's pillar, or the pillars of Enoch. Enoch was the 7th from Adam, and the Bible reveals to us that during that time, God gave special revelation to man mathematically to put together a monument, a witness unto the Lord that even survived the flood. You'll see how it works in just a moment. Now, this structure at the one opening, anytime God has a building built, if it's the tabernacle, there's one door. He gave the specific directions how to build Noah's Ark. There was one door. God is the one that gave the specific details of how to build this pyramid of Giza. That's why it's unlike anything else in the world, and they can't even mimic it today. It has only one door. The purpose for that is that it is a sign. And Christ is that door. No building or structure God builds ever has 2 ways to enter it. Jesus said, "No man come to the Father but by me. Any man that cometh up any other way is a thief and a robber." Now, on this north side of the pyramid, the one entrance into the pyramid is aligned true north. The Great Pyramid is the most accurately aligned structure in existence to this day, and faces true north with only 3/60th of a degree of angle. The position of the North Pole moves over time, and the pyramid was exactly aligned with the North Pole at one time. After 4,500 years, it's 3/60th of a degree out of true north right now. That's after all the earthquakes, and it's sitting there for 4,500 years. It aligned itself perfectly true north. Now, going into the entrance tunnel, the 2 yellow lines coming down. Now you see the descending passageway, the 2 white lines going straight down. Now, once you enter into the pyramid, you'll go 482 inches from the door down to the only scribings original. The only scribings in the pyramid was scored lines, 482 inches. That'd be 482 years, based upon the pyramid inch. You see about 1 inch from the yellow lines coming down, you'll see the scored line there. Now, that scored line, and there's nothing more accurate today than astronomy. They can go back and tell times and places where stars was and when it was. That scored line marks the date of 2141 BC, if you see. That is the time of which the North Star, Draconis, would have completely and perfectly shone its light down that descending passageway so perfectly that it would cause a straight beam of light to go all the way down, and it not bounce off any of the walls. And the walls of this descending passage is 4 foot by 4 foot. And it would shoot a straight beam of light all the way down to the bottom. That is the North Star, Draconis, 2141 BC. Draconis is the dragon star. Draconis is the star represents Satan. So, you have on the entrance, you have a satanic star pressing one down the moment you came into the pyramid, pressing one down a descending passageway down to where you see 1914. This is called the pit down here. What it means is that man, whenever he came in, was on a descending path to hell with no way out. The scored line at 2141 BC marks a specific day when that star would shine down that passageway. 482 inches up marks the passageway. So you add the 482 years to this mark, 2141 BC, and it gives you the date, 2623 BC, which is the date when the pyramid was constructed. So, from this point, entering in at the opening and going all the way down to where you see here in pink a first ascending passage, and the only ascending passage in the Great Pyramid. The problem is man is on a downward run. The moment he enters in, he's on his way to hell. Now, strangely enough, they do find one way out, an ascending passage. But the ascending passage is blocked by the original builders in a way you can't get into it. In other words, you are on a path going to hell driven by that satanic star, Draconis, heading you to the pit. There is one possible way of escape, one ascending passage going all the way up to the top left screen, which is called the King's Chamber. But the problem is you can't get in. And it was designed so that you couldn't get in. What marks that date? Remember, 1 inch equals a year. From the entrance of the Great Pyramid, you go 1,170 pyramid inches from 2623 BC, and right at the point to where you hit the ascending passageway, it marks the date 1453 BC. Now this is etched in stone. This is not elastic. It can't be played with. The inch is the inch, and that's the end of it. Can't be manipulated. 1453 BC is the date of the Exodus of Israel. It's the date of which man received the law. Now you see why the only ascending passage was one you couldn't get in. Nobody could get through it because nobody could keep the law except Christ. Strange. Once this ascending passageway was blown out, then 1,485 pyramid inches went up to this grand gallery. You see where the new arc, the white line, begins, and you see a raised roof. Even in this ascending passage here, it was still 4x4, and you had to be, bowed over to crawl through it. For the first time, 1,485 years from the point of the entrance of this ascending passage ends at precisely the date of the 1st of April, 33 AD. That is when Jesus Christ was crucified. Now, at this point, if you're going up that ascending passage and you hit now the date of Christ's crucifixion, for the first time you can now stand up on your feet and walk upright. It is Christ who put us on our feet. For the first time you can stand upright and breathe. It is Christ who first has given you that ability. Marked by the very dates here of his resurrection, of his crucifixion and resurrection. Now, as this passage runs on up, you see in the white, it marks the date at the entrance point of the King's Chamber. It marks the date of 1914 AD. 1914, but this date, 1914, in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, is a date that was marked by words that said that it was the time of which hell is loosed on earth. Well, 1914 marks the very date that the First World War began. Listen to what Jesus said here.